All right, guys, this is week 9. We have just testing to discuss. So we're going to break it down to unit, integration, and API. Unit, you take an individual piece and you check it out. We're doing validation for that part. Then we have our integration, which is kind of like our, your controllers. Task user controllers to verify things like security, uh, and those operations are working as well. That got a little finicky, but it's okay. Then we have API. We use supertest for our API, and that basically mimics our whole operation in that sense, which was very surprising because I saw things from my server popping up. No, kind of confused me for a minute, but that's what we were testing. So we're going to start with our unit testing for our schemas. We have our user task and patch. I made a helper function for both just for these properties to be able to remove and add to, make wrong, make right, whatever the case may be. But as the basic function, it returns all the proper information. All right, so now you see why I explained that. So as we go through here, um, we are testing individual failures of that validation schema. Okay, there we go. So we're testing the user schema, requires password strong. Um, these, so our error actually returns an array of objects called details that has information usually pertaining to these specific things that we're triggering password. It's triggering the password. It also has a little more information in there that really all pertains to password. I think one of them I actually give you the bad value if I'm not mistaken. But we check, scheme, the user name, all these things with the schema to make sure that they work along with our task validations. So we send, mm, okay, so this one will be quick and easy enough to explain. So here we're checking our task to make sure that it is schema valid. That's not oh, there it is. Task validation. Okay. So we are making sure that the value passed is a Boolean because our schema says this is only a Boolean and it actually defaults to false. So when we pass this number in, we are getting the error message details, uh, and it says must be a Boolean. I chose to do two match with a reg expression just to get the practice of something different. I could have did a 2B in a specific string, but our goal is to try new things, correct? All right, save that spacing. Anyways, we're going to go to our task controller, which would be more of our integration testing. Let's get up here and we're talking about the integration of our index, show, create these controllers with the validation. You go from little to bigger. All right. So we're sending these forward. Before we start, we run a before all, empties the database, puts two new users in. After all that, we disconnect the database. Uh, Task create, that returns a type error because we do not have a user, right? We have to have a user logged in to be able to create a task. We do that next with a bogus. And that's just kind of the step process as you go along. Each describe block will give you the information, or you will put your main information for your testing in there. I didn't want to say it yet, but it describes what your it blocks are doing. Your it blocks are running very specific operations. We run it async because that is an async operation. We have to await responses and whatnot. Notice our try catch because we're actually looking for an error to be thrown from our create. So we catch that, we expect that name, we check it against our type error. We then do that same thing, and we're actually testing our Prisma to make sure that it's doing its proper validations as well. Then we create one and get our proper response here. As you can see, we run an expect. The expect says this should be whatever we have over here to be that. So our save response from our mock, we run a status code check, which should be a 201 on any create. And we check that to be, it comes back correct. We will talk about running failures later. Okay. Now for the sake of moving forward, we did validation. This is the server. Is this the server? Yes, I think this is the server one, supertest. Yep. All right. User controller is kind of, we went from validations to task controllers, and then we went to we're actually creating and checking our cookies here. We do a few things. We have to make a different mock response. We do a helper function for this. It's running some checks, creates header sets, blah, return response. Here we do the same thing, which is before all. Also, we also created another Bob. Always create a Bob. Bob, here, testing register, log on and log off. So user can be registered. We, as any create would give you, we get a 201 back. We run our register, our request, and our response. Gives us back when this happens. I can't go into this helper function detail, but it this is our function, our request, and our response. And these all operate together to be able to do things like call next and pass information properly. That's really all you need to know. So the user can log on. No, 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 no. What'd you do? Fingers move too quick. Escape. X. All right. So we go here. We string in the cookie starts with JWT. We run a find, and the string method starts with uh kind of a lot of the same thing. Ooh, this JSON get data here. I like that because it really it helps get our response properly back. This saved data is the actual response object being returned back. I thought that was pretty cool. We are individually checking again these things. And I'll point something out here in a little bit about all that. But so there we're checking our JSON Web Token creation, validations, uses. Are we getting 401s back? Is our checks inside doing the right thing it's supposed to do? This is usually an environment variable. This is usually a UUID, not this. And as we come through, I thought we set it to something. Oh, we didn't need to set that. Yeah. Okay. This one, we had to set the header. That's what I thought I forgot. We didn't have to do that one in this one because our very first error handler inside this middleware is stopping and spitting it out. And that's why I had to do this one and got that confused. All right, let's go to our super test. Huzzah! Almost done. All right, a lot of the same things. Request agent app. We're actually, this is starting our server. You may notice this messed me up a little bit sometimes. It's okay. Prisma is an ORM, and it takes care of a lot of those mappings. Let's see, our after all disconnects our Prisma and our server. I thought was a little redundant because I thought inside our server we have a disconnect for Prisma. but I'm just following the course, man. Uh, so here we create the user entry. We send it. We make sure we get it back properly. Let's walk through this for a minute. So this agent is our server connection, right? No, don't hit buttons too quick this time. All right. So this agent is actually sending a post request. This is mimicking our express.use to this, right? Then to this post addressed, our handlers that we know work, we checked earlier, our controllers, sorry, we send this new user to there. We then get our save res response. Hiya, stop. And we check the status of it just like we would any response returned back in our checks before we JSON send that. I think it's actually, never mind, it's response okay. We check status code and the status code's to be okay. All right, so and as you can see, I do a few things where I still use the match. I want to make sure that I'm remembering these things correctly because to be is you can use that really for a lot of things. But it's the other things, the other methods that we have to know how to operate because this to match, as long as that string has John like this in it anywhere, it's fine. In it anywhere. Notice I said that. Okay. Um, expect response body to have property CSRF token. I could have checked it against a value, little extra. Um, I would assume that if we were writing tests for a real application, they would probably make us check that though. Uh, you can log on as the newly registered user, so on and so forth, as all the other tests have done. Oh, this was, yeah, this was one of the shorter ones, really. But this really checks a lot of our server operations. Let's try to wrap this up real quick. I don't have Postman for you guys this time. I didn't break something. I hope something broke. Come on, come on. I gotta go break something real quick. Hold on. Let's see what one of the first tests are before we jump in and go to breaking something. What's one of the first ones? Did I? There we go. 14. 14 is one of the first ones. So we're going to go break 14 real quick. I'm going to assume that's because it's probably the first in the file, maybe. Yeah. TUV. Yep. There we go. All right. So 14. Um, we are going to break the type error. Just something. All right. We're going to save that. We're going to go back to Ghosty. We're going to run this again. It's a lot of logger stuff from my server. I'm sorry. Come on. I did pass. Oh, I didn't save. Did I not save? No, I did save. Expect name. Hey, why are you passing? I'm sorry, people. You got a live learn with me. That shouldn't be passing. Why is it passing? 14. The catch is it not hitting? For the sake of time, we're gonna go to another one. Uh, please, fingers crossed. Don't make me look foolish. Oh no. Damn. Okay. I am really uncertain why the other one failed. Uh, I will check into that. Enjoy my embarrassment, but I need to show you the failure because the failure reports what the problem is. And to me, pass it, please. And look, there we go. All right. So this is important because it tells us what threw the error. So if we wanted to put multiple assertions in here, we could. And there's also something called an assertion check we could use. Um, I'm very proud of you and I'm very confused by you. I will fix you later. Uh, but all right, that is it for me. I hope you guys have enjoyed this presentation and I've been able to cover really everything that was asked. Thank you and have a good day. Nope. Oh, gotta click.